You're in the SF Vortex for weekend 2, August 1996, with these stories. Dark Skies leading man knows the truth about visitors from outer space.
What you're doing can't stay hidden forever.
Star Trek keys into the CD-ROM world with a game for generations. X-Files gets ready to begin season 4. Why do the fans keep coming back?
Because they don't know what to expect from week to week.
Expect the unexpected from us as well as we launch back into the SF Vortex.
Wow.
Welcome to SF Vortex, everybody. We're the show that has millions of Americans asking, where'd they find this guy? I'm Roger Lodge, and for the next 30 minutes, we will escape from Earth's gravitational pull. You see, we're aboard a virtual command center, and we're here to explore what's happening in sci-fi entertainment. Do you ever wonder what's really going on out here? Do you? Well, that news from NASA this week was probably pretty amazing for you, huh? Scientists say they have found strong circumstantial evidence of possible early Martian life. All right, so it's microscopic and about 3 billion years old, but hey, it's life. All this from a Martian meteorite that landed on Earth some 13,000 years ago. Kind of makes you wonder a little more about all those alien visitations from the past, don't you think? And it plays right into NBC's new Saturday sci-fi series, Dark Skies. The show premieres September 21st and suggests that aliens are very much among us and have screwed around with politics. Eric Close stars as a rather ambitious political aide who stumbles upon a cover-up of their presence.
What you're doing can't stay hidden forever.
Eric was a regular cast member in the series Sisters before landing one of the lead spots in this political thriller as John Lowengarde.
He gets to Washington and things are going great. He gets a job right off the bat with a congressman, and he's kind of running coffee and donuts at first, and then things take a drastic turn.
Lowengarde represents our everyman. He's seeing the world through the fresh new eyes of Camelot, and he's very optimistic about the world, as many of us were in those years.
John's innocence is shattered when his routine budget work reveals to him a covert operation known as Majestic 12.
Flying saucers don't come from outer space. You're building them, aren't you?
Sworn to secrecy, John sees things that not even his wildest imagination could have prepared him for. Working on Dark Skies has changed Eric's opinion regarding extraterrestrial life.
I have more of an open mind now. Even though I haven't seen anything, there's no direct proof to me, it really has made me think twice about it, and it's exciting, and it's very possible.
You don't want to miss that one, folks. That's going to be a good show. And a little prediction, Eric Close, big star. Next week, we'll meet Megan Ward. She plays John's girlfriend, Kimberly Sayers. X-Files is about to start its 4th season, and X marks the spot on Sunday nights right after NFL football. And the stars tell you that you can expect more of what made this show a big hit for the past 3 years. As we all know, the show chronicles the work of 2 FBI agents, Fox Mulder, played by David Duchovny, and Dana Scully, played by Gillian Anderson. This dynamic duo investigates the Bureau's unsolved cases which involve paranormal or unexplained phenomena.
You know, good shows either find their audience or they don't. We were lucky to have found our audience, and I think it's a good show.
The show definitely makes people think, and I think that's what has drawn people to it for such a long time and continues, because they don't know what to expect from week to week. And so I think that makes it very appealing for people.
In your wildest dreams, what do you possibly hope to find, Agent Mulder?
Why they killed my father. what happened to my sister. What they did to Agent Scully.
There is a trust there between us and a respect.
What makes you think there's any such thing as Justice Scully?
Then what good are those answers to anybody but you, Mulder?
What we found last night.
I want exactly what you want.
It just gets stronger all the time.
I believe that what we're looking for is in the X-Files. I'm more certain than ever that the truth is in there.
I've heard the truth, Mulder. Now what I want are the answers.
They make such a cute couple, don't they? Now, just because X-Files is moving to Sunday nights doesn't mean you should turn Friday evenings back into date night, or in my case, bingo night. You see, Chris Carter, the creator of the X-Files, has a new show. It's called Millennium, and you can find it in the slot left vacant by its paranormal cousin. All right, folks, here it is. It's time for your Star Trek update. The latest from the Star Trek world is a game using technology that didn't even exist back in 1966. Take a look. Coming soon to a computer screen near you is Star Trek Generations via CD-ROM. Star Trek Generations for Windows 95 is an interactive gaming first. Based on the feature film Star Trek Generations, the game allows players to assume the role of multiple characters, including Captains James T. Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard. To enhance your gaming experience, developer Microprose featured the character voices of several movie cast members, like William Shatner and Patrick Stewart. The fast-paced and challenging game will hit the counters sometime in November.
The Romulans are on full alert. Troy, you're gonna die down there. Just joking. We'll beam you out.
By the way, folks, if you're a serious Trekker, like myself, then plan a trip to Huntsville, Alabama on September 7th and 8th for Paramount's ultimate event, Star Trek 30, One Weekend on Earth. It's a huge celebration. I'll be there. Come on down. I'll buy you a drink. Check your favorite fan magazine for details. Coming up next, get ready to escape from L.A. And not because of the smog. Snake's back at work starting this weekend. And is it tongue-in-cheek or fangs in the neck when Dennis Miller stars in the Tales from the Crypt vampire movie? Check it out when SF Vortex returns. Welcome back to SF Vortex, everybody. Wait a minute, what happened on my desk? Oh, little problem here in space. No gravity. Got to get the guys to work on that. Escape from New York fans waited 15 years for the return of Snake Plissken. How is it possible? Well, the time has finally come. This weekend, we escape from L.A.
I give you the death of Snake Plissken!
Now hold it just a minute. This isn't the sweet and innocent L.A. we all know and love. This L.A. is just downright nasty.
Once an American loses his or her citizenship, they are deported to this island of the damned, and they never come back.
That is, unless you're Snake Plissken, a.k.a. Kurt Russell, sent by the feds to retrieve a weapon of great power and destruction.
You go into L.A., bring back the black box, and you will receive a full pardon for every immoral act you have ever committed in the United States.
Sounds familiar. I get that character. Snake Plissken has been one that I've had the opportunity to play. That's been my favorite. And that's after playing a lot of different characters. And ones that I've really enjoyed.
No! Nobody rolls into town and disrespects me. Not Snake Plissken, not nobody.
It's like a negative image of you know, he's a reverse flow of James Bond. There's nothing he can't figure out.
Hey, on, Snake.
Design the film to be is a movie that stands on its own. In other words, if you've never seen the first film, it doesn't matter, because you understand who Snake is, you're introduced to him. But he's a kind of the guy we'd all like to be. He doesn't care about you, he doesn't care about me, he doesn't care about anything but staying alive for 60 seconds.
Some people think you're already dead, Snake. Some say you never will be. Because you may have survived Cleveland. You may have escaped from New York. But this is L.A., Vato.
It is a great ride, and it is a great escape.
Boy, I'll say. And as Escape from L.A. tries to pull in fans this weekend, we can't help but mention, of course, Independence Day. So there, I said it, Independence Day, huge, smash, Will Smith, sensational. But, you know, I still don't buy Bill Pullman as the president. But, you know, the big surprise at the box office is Matilda.
379, 4927.
It is.
Wow.
Matilda is a 6-year-old wonder with less than wonderful parents Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman. The two neglect the super smart first grader rather than nurture her.
You want Matilda to go to college?
College? I didn't go to college.
Soon, her precocious ways with math and literature are taught by telekinesis. The movie's like Phenomenon for kids, but Mara Wilson is much livelier than John Travolta and much more believable as a genius.
No more Miss Nice Girl.
It's kind of catchy, you have to admit. You know, my son Brandon loved that film. Matilda debuted in 3rd place this weekend with $8.5 million in ticket sales. Now, folks, you only have to wait one more week for the new Tales from the Crypt flick, Bordello of Blood. That's right, the release date, which was originally slated for last February, was pushed back due to who knows what. So, here's a look at what Universal insists was worth the wait.
See, I'm home.
Let's party.
Get your summer vampire fix with Bordello of Blood.
Sorry, I'm Mexican for lunch.
The second feature-length film from the makers of Tales from the Crypt. Dennis Miller is the mere mortal in search of the undead, and Dracula never looked so good in the form of Angie Everhart. The red-haired raven is insatiable in her quest for blood.
I'm going to take you for a test ride.
I'll take Angie Everhart with or without the fangs. Kind of like the fangs, though. You know, making his feature film directing debut for Bordello of Blood is Gil Adler, who produced Demon Knight and HBO's Tales from the Crypt. Clap on. Eh, you like that? Anyway, folks, coming right up, it's a battle in the war room over violence and sexism in sci-fi. I guarantee you this will be more entertaining than a Dolph Lundgren film festival. We'll see you in a minute. All right, welcome back to the real reason Chelsea Clinton watches the Sci-Fi channel, SF Vortex. We're in the war room, everybody. Finally, a place where top experts, producers, and fanatics can sling their opinions around. And boy, do we have a lot of opinions flying around in here. Joining us today, Chase Masterson. Of course, she's Lita from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and pretty much the only reason I watched the darn show. And she was just voted by Sci-Fi Universe magazine as one of the top 20 people to watch for in Hollywood for her commitment to the sci-fi genre. And she'll also be December's cover girl. Geez, anything else while I'm at? Also, Vivian Sobchak joins us, professor and associate dean of the UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television, as well as distinguished author, whose book Screening Space, the American science fiction film, was awarded a Pilgrim Award. And also with us is Warren James, of course, no stranger to the Sci-Fi Channel, a real-life aerospace engineer, and yes, folks, he is a rocket scientist right here in the war room. He's also the very popular host of Hour 25, the radio program on KPFK in Los Angeles. All right, everybody, first of all, welcome. My first topic, sci-fi is a too violent chase. Go.
Absolutely not. I think one reason that science fiction has grown in popularity in recent years is that we're finally catching up with the other forms of entertainment to include human things, which are sex, violence, human emotion, all of the same things that we experience here. We like to feel like, you know, we can relate to other people and other beings in space.
So it's not too violent.
But science fiction...
Absolutely not.
Science fiction isn't like other genres. Science fiction is a genre of ideas. And very often the ideas in science fiction get totally overwhelmed by the cheap shots the producers can do by blowing up things.
You can call it a cheap shot, or you can call it commercialism with an artistic
But
value.
it loses the story. It loses the idea.
Guys. I mean,
it hides it behind the explosions.
Go ahead.
You've got, first of all, why pick science fiction? Why single it out? You've got violence and sex, and we started with violence. I don't know how sex got in here.
Yeah, where'd the sex come from, Chase?
Hey, Chase.
Can't imagine.
But whatever the case, I mean, we're talking about, you know, the escalation of violence in general, and all sorts of genres, not just science fiction. And in fact, you could make the argument that even if it is more violent than it used to be, it's less violent than certain cop shows and certain other kinds of genres.
Look at the film Demolition Man, which was a film that had it was a popular film, but what do people remember about it? They remember the explosions, the violence, all the other things, and they miss all of the neat little insights that would have otherwise been seen and thought about.
Such as?
The comment, the Taco Bell comment, which also realized in Europe it was translated to Pizza Hut.
But without the commercial parts of that film, no one would have seen it.
I disagree. There have been a lot of films that have not had violence, that have not had every other building blowing up.
Name one.
2001: A Space Odyssey. Name me the building that blew up in that one.
Let's look at something more contemporary.
What is this, trivia?
With all this stuff about ID4, you've got steady up there on the on the box office lists. Phenomenon. Does anything blow up in that? For some strange reason, I think something does.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, but it's mostly
the point is, science fiction is a genre about ideas, and very often you lose the ideas in the violence and the explosions and the other things.
For sure.
And I say they're a cheap shot because they are easy to throw in, and very often they stop the development of the plot.
Okay, let's move on.
Exploitative.
Go ahead, Chase. Don't let me cut you off. Really. Okay, enough of the film thing. Let's go to TV. I
wanted to hear what you had to say.
We only have a certain amount of time here. Let's move on to television.
So, time stretches.
TV network, heads, the suits, the people in charge, do they even get this sci-fi thing?
Not at all.
Yes, they do.
Do they?
They don't. You look at what they do to most science fiction shows on television, and by the time the suits are done coming in and layering on this element and that element and taking out this thing, what you're left with is mindless pap in many cases. And it's a big fight to save anything from that.
The networks are catching on to what the public has always known since the 1960s, is that science fiction is a very interesting and very marketable genre.
So
they do know it. They do know
they're
it.
recognizing that it's marketable. That doesn't mean they understand the genre.
Yeah, I think they understand because the American public is beginning to understand, because we're finally getting evolved enough to understand the principles that Gene Roddenberry and the others laid down 30-some years ago.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I actually really agree with Warren. This is,
You and Warren agree?
Boy. The commercial bandwagon. But science fiction itself has been mainstreamed because it's about the things that we have to deal with in our daily lives. It's less science fictional than it used to be when it was marginalized. Now, we really care about, what's going to happen with gene, transplants and things like that. We deal with technology. We have to deal with our computers every day.
Okay, but a lot of stuff that would be real serious science fiction actually ends up appearing in mainstream fiction on television.
Okay, let me ask you this about mainstream in television, the sci-fi thing. Is it too much from a male perspective? Chase?
No, not at all. I don't believe it is. I think that some wonderful things have happened, and they've begun happening in the 60s, and they're happening now. I mean, from Lieutenant Uhura, look at all the incredible things that she did. Janeway,
which I know everybody dislikes Voyager, but it's actually
I don't dislike Voyager. I happen to like Voyager. Warren, do you like Voyager?
Not at all.
You think it stinks?
I think it's a really terrible show.
Do you?
And it's an example of the way that things have been layered on, and until what you're left with is a bad show.
You're a guy.
That does not. I do not dislike the show because.
Where else in science fiction can a woman be sensual yet innocent yet strong and compassionate?
Those are not the elements of Voyager that I dislike.
So Warren,
the elements of Voyager that are bad are the elements where they've thrown things in without thinking through the implications.
Sure.
I mean, as science fiction, Voyager makes a lot of mistakes.
We're talking about
gender,
and
that's fine.
Compared to other genres, I think we're
science fiction is way ahead of other genres in terms of roles for women. positive roles for women and all the other things. It's way ahead of mainstream
Absolutely.
fiction. Way ahead.
So you're saying the Voyager is basically Josie and the Pussycats in outer space? What are you saying?
I'm saying it's a bad science fiction show.
Okay.
Why?
They make a number, they do, science fiction is about taking an idea and following it, asking the next question. Voyager never asks the next question. It throws things in because they think they're going to look interesting without realizing that the elements they've thrown in totally destroy major elements of the show.
Vivian, you agree with that?
Not completely. We're talking as if it's one homogenous, you know, mess.
Example.
You have good episodes, you have bad episodes. That was true of Deep Space Nine. It was true of
wasn't that true?
Well, take, and as an example of the things where they really lose it on Voyager, look at the Kazon. I mean, what they have on one side, you have a race of aliens who are supposedly having problems getting enough water for their culture. On the other hand, this seemingly, apparently, third world primitive culture is awesome. Just a minute, let me finish. Let me finish.
Let the man finish. Go ahead.
There's a second part to this. On the one hand, when you see the Kazon, you see them as apparently a third world primitive society. In the next scene, you see them piloting starships that are the equal to anything the Federation has.
If you have the
Hold on, I gotta cut you off. I'm sorry, I gotta cut you guys off.
If you have the technology for that,
I gotta cut
you
him
don't
off.
have a problem with
We're
water.
out of time here, folks. We'll be back with more of the Warren James Show in just a moment. I gotta get out of here. I just want to thank our guests, Vivian Sobchak, Chase Masterson, and of course, Mr. Warren James. Plenty more coming up on the SF Vortex, so don't even think about changing that channel. Boy, you guys. Welcome back. If you've been channel surfing in search of either Earth 2, Mantis, or Sequest, look no further. The Sci-Fi Channel has picked up the rerun rights to all three. Well, that wraps up another episode from the SF Vortex. Before we go, big moment this week for us, folks. Our first fan letter. It reads as follows. It's from Christine Backus in Newport Beach, California. Here's how it goes. Dear Randy, it's Roger. I enjoyed your first show. Nice hair. How about this for a way to close the show? It's hard to say bye when you're talking sci-fi. Do we like it, Christine? No. See you next week, everybody.
Produced in association with the Sci-Fi Channel.